A Beating Heart to Beating Heart Conversation by B Craig Grafton, read by Teresa Board. A diminutive young woman, age 18, sat on a hard, straight-back, armless, cushionless chair in the waiting room of an abortionist's office. She tried to read a smudged-up, limp-paged old magazine, but couldn't. Her mind was elsewhere. Another woman came in, closed the door with a deadening thud, plodded over to the receptionist, and mumbled her name. This woman was big-boned, in her late 30s. Life had been hard on her, much of it from her own making, and her aching, sagging body showed it. She took a similar chair directly across from the young woman. They both knew why they were here, so there was no point in them carrying on a conversation. But there was someone there who wanted to be heard. It was the fetus of the younger woman. "What are you in for?" the fetus of the younger woman asked the fetus of the older woman. "Rape. And you?" "Incest. By the way, I'm Charisse. The woman carrying me refuses to give me a name, so I chose Charisse." "I chose Lavinia. Nice to meet you, Charisse." "Nice to meet you, Lavinia." "You know," began Charisse, "I know that we live in a state that bans abortions, but makes exceptions for incest and rape. But you know those legislators of ours never ever once looked at it from our point of view. They don't realize that we're the victims here. Can we help who our fathers are?" "I know what you mean. They must think that since my father is a rapist, I'll grow up to be one too. Get real." "Well, in my case, they must think I'll be a retard, and I know that isn't true." "How do you know that?" "From the Bible. The woman carrying me became a Bible freak after her incident, as she calls it. Reads it all the time now, trying to get back in the good graces of God. By osmosis, I learned a few things. Like her Bible is full of incest, and it didn't hurt the Jews any." "What are you talking about?" "Bear with me here, okay?" "Okay." Take that story of Abraham and Sarah, for example. They're in Egypt. The Pharaoh sees Sarah, and he wants her for his lustful purposes. So he asks Abraham about her. Abraham knows that if he tells the Pharaoh that Sarah is his wife, she's fair game, that the Pharaoh can take her from him, and there's nothing he can do about it. But if he tells him that she's his sister, she's off limits for some reason or other under the Egyptian code of ethics. So Abraham tells the Pharaoh that she's his sister, and the Pharaoh leaves her alone. Old Honest Abe here wasn't exactly lying. He was just sidestepping the truth. Sarah was his wife, and was his half-sister. They had the same mother. "So what's your point?" "So my point is that later Abraham and Sarah had Isaac, and the whole Jewish race is descended from him and Rebekah. The Jews have produced some pretty smart, intelligent, even genius people over the years, like that Einstein fellow. Lots of them have won all kinds of awards. Lots of them are doctors, lawyers, writers, actors, movie producers, statesmen, etc. And they're all descended from a child of incest. But no, I'm stereotyped as a retard and have to be put down like a mad dog. And oh yeah, speaking of Lots, don't forget about Lot and his daughters." "Well, that's kind of stretching it some, isn't it, Charisse? But you know, now that I think about it, as to my case anyway, there's a lot of famous, talented people born as a result of rape. Her case was that she was drunk, he was drunk. She said no, but he was not to be denied his full and final consummation. You know, when they suck me down the tube, they might just be killing off the next Ethel Waters or Eartha Kitt. But so what? They don't care. It isn't about us, Lavinia. It's all about them and their right to a woman's health care decision. As if thousands of women die each year from the disease called pregnancy. Give me a break. Abortion is killing, plain and simple, but legal." "Well, slavery was legal once and they abolished it. Maybe someday they'll abolish abortion too." "Maybe, but we won't live long enough to see it, that's for sure." The door next to the incest-infected young woman burst open, and a nurse with a smile plastered across her face came out and nodded to the young woman that it was her turn now. She smiled, not to put the young woman at ease, but rather because she enjoyed her work, as she believed that each abortion was another victory for women's rights, and she was homely as a mud fence. The young woman got up, straightened herself out. She mustn't go to her abortion all wrinkly-like, since the reason she was here was to remove this wrinkle from her life and start anew. She stuck her chin out. She feared no evil as she entered into the valley of the chamber of death, and as she did so, Charisse hollered back over the young woman's shoulder, "See you on the other side, Lavinia!" To which Lavinia responded, See you on the other side, Charisse.